Are you buying too much everyday carry or EDC gear? Really think about that for a second. What do you define as too much? Well, today I want to talk about if there's a possibility that you are buying too much everyday carry gear. Am I guilty as that as well? Are we all just peasants together? Let's talk about it. So whenever a new EDC product is about to get ready to drop, we all get those emails. I particularly get emails from the upcoming drops that are going to be occurring, but I also get emails from companies asking, hey, do you want to get your hands on maybe one of these products before it releases, whether it be a knife or a multi-tool or a sling bag or regular bag or whatever. Normally I'll say yes, because I oftentimes want to see how has everyday carry gear progressed. Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? In the world of knives or multi-tools or bags, is this a product that I would myself would want to purchase or I could recommend to someone else? But that doesn't mean every time someone like me or another YouTuber or influencer post a picture or a video on Instagram or YouTube, you yourself should run out and get those things. You might be wasting money overall. Let's rewind a little bit. So when I first started with EDC, I bought gear that I could afford. Might be Mossy Oak or Ozark Trails or maybe used gear. And then I slowly progressed, and I'm kind of in that stage where I oftentimes will say gear doesn't matter. But what that really means is gear shouldn't matter, but it does matter for me. Now, let me explain. I'm not putting myself back on a Mossy Oak knife that cut like trash or a Smith & Wesson combo edge blade, which is hard to sharpen and not the sharpest out the box. I'm not putting myself back to that level. I feel like I've progressed. I've gotten better with my gear and my tools, in that, I want to use what I own. But when I say gear doesn't matter, what I really mean by that is you shouldn't stop yourself from getting the gear that you need because you can't buy the high tech and the latest and greatest things. If you can't come out the gate buying the Protex, the Chris Reeves, the Chavez, the Benchmades, the Spydercos, that doesn't mean that you should not at least get started in the world of EDC, whether that's you creating content or just improving things that bring value to your life. But we all suffer from a little bit of gear acquisition syndrome. I've suffered from it as well. You're always kind of worried about whether it's a creator or somebody you really like, am I keeping up with the Joneses? If the gear that I currently have, is it really making the cut? No pun intended. But should I get that knife? Is it really doing what I need it to do? But then I started realizing that a lot of the gear that I own, I never freaking use. I mean, I got a wall of crap behind me that a lot of times just sits there. A bunch of bags or knives or multi-tools or fidget things or pocket trash, pocket art, patches, REs. A lot of these things wish that I would freaking finagle them every now and again, and they rarely see the light of day. You may see me messing with some of these things in a video, whether it's been recent or maybe a couple of years ago. And in that moment, you thought to yourself, man, that is a really cool piece of tech, a really cool product, a really cool whatever. I've seen X-Carrot, I've seen other folks use it. I might want to get it myself, but I would say pump your brakes. You don't necessarily need the latest and greatest just because we are getting those things as well. Now, I know that I am a problem. I'm a peasant just like the rest of you. That doesn't mean that I can't realize or have some type of form of self-deprecation or self-realization that some of the things that I have are just overkill. I don't need them. I don't want you to fall into that same trap as well. Sometimes when you're about to buy that new piece of gear, think about what else you could spend it on. Maybe a gym membership or a family vacation or something that's not even related to EDC, survival, or prep. Maybe you can improve on your man cave. You can find a new recipe or whatever. But you might not always need the items that you think that you need. Now, when I get that email from whether it's my favorite pen company or flashlight, knife, I get a little bit of adrenaline, a little bit of excitement. Can I get my hands on that item? And then if I actually get it, I get like a small shot of dopamine. It's just kind of like it hits the senses and it feels good inside. And it feels like I was able to acquire something that other people were unable to do. Case in point, I bought the Carry Commission bum bag recently, and I kind of shit all over that bag in my review, and I bought it mainly because of the hype. It's not even necessarily something that I needed. It was a want, but I did it. Are you the same in regards to realizing when you yourself had bought something that was kind of a want and it really wasn't a need? One thing I've realized in this journey of EDC is that the more I use a specific piece of kit or gear, the more I tend to enjoy it. So things that don't get used very often, I probably enjoyed them in the moment when I purchased it, but I haven't seen them or used them in a while, so I don't find the same level of joy in that item. It's similar to using anything in your life, whether it be a favorite pan for frying stuff in the kitchen or a favorite seat on the couch. Once you use it a lot, you kind of get used to it. And that's kind of how I fall in the world of EDC gear. If you see yourself falling into that as well, maybe you don't need to buy that new item. And let's just be real with ourselves. Buying that new piece of tech, that new piece of gear, that piece of kit, it's not going to make your EDC better. Arguably, it might even make your EDC worse. Maybe you should learn how to maintenance your equipment, sharpen your knives, fix things that break versus just making something, adding to your kit when you don't need to. Maybe aesthetically, it's going to look better, but functionality, like the purpose of EDC, if we peel back that onion and get past the vanity of this hobby, is, does this acquisition make your EDC better? I would argue it probably doesn't. And I would probably say take a long pause, a long look at the next purchase you're about to make before you pull the trigger. Now, says the guy that's sitting with all sorts of EDC gear and, I own dozens of knives. I get it. I understand that. But I really want to just be able to have the realization that you don't always need that new item. If this is a hobby, think about what limits you want this hobby to take you, and pump your brakes once you hit that barrier. So I'll wrap it up by saying this. If functionality outweighs aesthetics, then in the world of EDC, that next purchase probably doesn't matter. If you're still in the beginning stages of EDC, once you get your first kit, learn how to maintenance it, learn how to use it, sharpen that thing. How do you sew up a tear in a bag? Learn how to do those things so that if you do decide to advance in the future, you don't always have to be drawn to the aesthetics, or you won't even have to worry about allowing your item to be, quote unquote, a concrete cowboy, something that never gets used. It never gets taken in the dirt, the mud, because it's just a pretty thing. That's probably why I don't own a beer bomb or any other type of pocket trash or a curator or anything similar, because I don't know if it's going to have the functionality that I need. Do I want it? Honestly, probably. Have I pulled the trigger by waking up early or not sleeping when I should to get it? No, I haven't. And you probably shouldn't either. If you made it this far in the video, put EDC down below and I'll heart your message. All right, I got work to do. I'll catch you later.